What's up, guys? This is Zach Joachim. I'm doing On the Horn from Robins Center after VCU beat rival Richmond 78-60 tonight. Rams to 23-5, 13-2, and remained atop the A10 in a tie with George Mason. Although Rams hold the tiebreaker, I haven't seen other results tonight around the A10 yet. But this was a nervy game for a moment there, right, late in the second half. So VCU up 51-33 after the first half, led for pretty much all of the first half after a little back and forth action to start this game. 10 of 15 from 3-point range VCU was in that first half. Seemed like Rams couldn't miss from outside for a while there, and it felt quite comfortable, right? And I think the lead got up to 22 at 63-41 at one point during that second half. And then Richmond went on a 13-0 flurry. And all of a sudden, in an arena that had been, relatively mellow for a rivalry game of this magnitude, things got very nervy and tense in here for a few minutes. It was a 9-point game. It was 63 to 54 VCU with about 4 minutes to go, and then the key sequence happened, right? We had I think it was Neskovich on a drive down on this end with Luke Bamboye protecting the rim, and there was a physical contest going up. There was no call. Bamboye was over holding the wall on the sideline. I think he got hit in the face, and Neskovich obviously wanted a call, and Chris Mooney obviously wanted a call, and VCU got going in transition, and Mooney was called for a technical foul. Shulga went to the line, hit a couple of free throws, and then Joe Bamisiel on VCU's next possession had an offensive rebound and a really rugged putback to get the lead back to 13, and VCU kind of controlled the final moments from there to win by 18 in a game that's probably one of the more tense, nervy 18-point road wins that I can remember, because things certainly got tense here for a second. Max Shulga led VCU with 16 points. Joe Bamisiel 13 points, a team-high 8 rebounds. VCU won the rebounding battle 34-21. That was a huge part of this game, specifically their guards being able to crash the glass. Zach Joachim had 6 rebounds. He ended up with 10 points and 3 assists. Philip Russell, 11 points, 2 assists. Russell made 3 threes. Shulga 3 of 3 from 3. Had a really important step-back 3 on that left wing over there late in that second half to help VCU kind of close this game out. And that was the only 3 that VCU made in the second period. They were 10 of 15 in the first period and then 1 of 9 in the second. And Richmond switched some things up defensively. Chris Mooney talked about that in the postgame. They were switching more aggressively on the perimeter to try and take the threes away from VCU, and they very much did that in the second half, and that helped them close the margin here. And for UR, Neskovich, 16 points, 4 assists. He was really good. Mikkel Tyne and B. Artis White, I thought, were really impressive. They played the full 40 minutes. The rugged guard duo for UR, they ended up with 12 points apiece. Luke Bamboye, we should talk about a little bit for VCU. He ended up with 8 points. He was 4 of 4 from the field and grabbed 5 rebounds. I think we saw the development of his offensive game shine a little bit tonight. Had a turnaround lefty hook over on the baseline there that was really impressive. Did some things offensively that we have not seen yet from the freshman this season. I think you're seeing him be more poised, more controlled when he catches the ball in traffic and is trying to post up, and some really good signs for the future, for Luke's future, for a VCU team that has not played through its bigs much at all this year in the post, and won't with the guard depth that they have. That's the straw that stirs this team's drink. Obviously, Philip Russell, Zach Joachim, Max Shulga, and Joe Bamisiel are the fulcrum of this roster, but it's great to see some development from Luke Bamboye on the offensive side. Christian Furman, also 6 points, 3 of 3 from the field. So the VCU bigs ended up a combined 7 of 7 from the field for 14 points. Luke Bamboye, 2 blocks, Christian Furman, 1 block. They've been great defensively all year. So some good offensive signs from them. Jack Clark, 9 points, 7 rebounds. Ended up 1 of 5 from 3, so not his best shooting night. It kind of felt like he kind of had to come down to earth a little bit in terms of the outside shooting with how well he's been lighting it up from the 3-point line recently. I know a lot of VCU fans will want to see even more shooting volume from Max Shulga because he was only 4 of 6 from the field, 3 of 3 from 3, but 5 of 6 from the free throw line. Hit some clutch free throws. The free throw line was big for VCU too. They ended up 11 of 13 at the charity stripe. Richmond just 4 of 7. Richmond took care of the ball really well. They only ended up with 7 turnovers. VCU 11 turnovers, and they matched each other with 14 points off turnovers. So that was a big part of Richmond being able to get back into this game, was just taking care of the ball. And VCU didn't get a whole lot of run-out opportunities, although they still ended up with a 14-5 edge in fast break points. And I told my coworkers I was going to try and do this, and my dear friend and colleague John O'Connor is here with me now, and I'm gonna try and get him in the video. John, do you have any takeaways from tonight to add to the On the Horn post-game reaction? What'd you see?
I'd say the more experienced ball-sharing team won the game. A lot of threes early. That made the difference. That was the end of it. They had 51 points at halftime. Pretty much did it.
What do you think happened with Mooney there in that sequence of the technical foul? He's not a guy that gets really emotional during the game a lot of the time, right?
Yeah,
Is that out of the ordinary for him?
He'll get 2 or 3 a year.
Okay.
You know, that was a key part of the game, as he said afterwards. They could have cut it to 7 if that foul's called on the Neskovich drive. Neskovich doesn't miss free throws. So Chris is upset. You know, it was a key part of the game, and it really helped settle VCU down.
Some positives for Richmond to take away from tonight, especially with how they played in that second half,
Yeah.
defensively, right?
To me, not real relevant.
Okay.
You know, they were getting beat pretty good. So the second half, I didn't take much out of it. Other than the fact that they just start poorly and they have all year. Another example of that.
Thank you, sir. I promised my coworkers Jackson and Savannah that I would try and get JOC in on the horn. So I'm honored that he joined us there for a second. I've been wanting to do that all year. Okay. I felt like it was probably the most nervy 18-point win that I can remember, because this place got loud. In that sequence there when Richmond cut it to 9 and you had the UR and the VCU chants going back and forth. I really like this arena construction-wise. I'm a big fan of the vertical seats and the places that kind of feel like a cauldron. George Mason's Eagle Bank is like that a little bit too. And we're a little bit removed from the immediate playing floor in the media seating here. As you can see, we're a couple of rows back from the scores table right there at the edge of the court. So it was Max Shulga and Zach Joachim in the post-game press conference. They talked about VCU winning the rebounding battle 34-21, specifically their guards being able to crash the glass. Like I said, Bamasiel 8 rebounds, Jackson 6. Jack Clark, who's very much a guard forward hybrid, he's still listed as a guard on all of the sheets this year, which has stood out to me because he's listed at 6'10". I don't know if Jack's all of 6'10", but he operates on the perimeter a lot. But he had 7 rebounds. So VCU's ability to crash the glass. It wasn't really a whole lot of second chance opportunities. I mean, 7 offensive rebounds to 4 for Richmond. Ryan Odom talked about how good of a defensive rebounding team Richmond is in the post-game press conference. They don't give you a whole lot of second chance looks, and VCU didn't really have a whole lot today. Yeah, VCU 4 second chance points, Richmond 6. So that wasn't really the difference here. Looking at the stat sheet, VCU 21-12, edge and bench points. Ryan Odom has shrunk that rotation a little bit in recent weeks. He's not playing as many guys as he was earlier in the year. Brandon Jennings, 9:25 tonight. Michael Bell, 8:45. But aside from that, it's really that 7-man rotation that he's leaned on with Luke Bamboye, Philip Russell, Jack Clark, Max Shulga, Joe Bamasiel, Zeb Jackson, and Christian Furman. Those are the guys who are playing the vast majority of the minutes for VCU down the stretch here as they near crunch time and the Atlantic 10 tournament. John and I got to get going from the Robins Center, so I'm going to cut this off, guys. But VCU 78, Richmond 60, Rams to 23-5, 13-2. Played a really good first half offensively and fought through a clunky, defensive, choppy second half that Richmond really competed well to end up winning this game by 18 after the Spiders cut it to 9. Again, that Chris Mooney technical foul was a key point there. Shulga knocks down a couple free throws, and Bamasiel gets an offensive rebound and put back, and VCU was able to control the final moments after this thing got tense for a little bit there. Rams will host Davidson on Friday. I'm excited to see Reed Bailey, who's leading the A10 in scoring. I've been wanting to see him in person all year. Have watched him on TV a couple of times. Really fun offensive game. Gets to the free throw line a lot. It's a Davidson team that has annoyed VCU over the years, although they're very much in that nebulous middle of the pack on the A10 right now. But Rams maintain the status quo, I think, with this win. Are still probably on the right side of the NCAA tournament. At large bubble, have the inside track to the A10's top seed. With just a handful of games to go down the stretch here. They host Davidson, then they're at Duquesne, and then a huge one to close the season against Dayton, which will be a weird, I've had a lot of people ask me that, will VCU be in kind of a want to beat Dayton but not by too much scenario there. So John's waving at me. I got to cut this off, guys. This is On the Horn. I'm Zach Joachim. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you Friday at the Siegel Center against Davidson.